Diablo Volfer, once feared as the mightiest magician by the 12 gods, was so powerful they couldn't defeat him in a fierce battle. Instead, they pulled their remaining strength to seal him away, leaving him in eternal suffering. Before being sealed, Diablo vowed to return and make the gods beg for their demise. Tens of thousands of years later, Diablo is reborn into the Welton family, now known as Jamie Welton. Retaining his memories, he comprehends his situation but faces a couple of challenges. Firstly, he's unable to speak a single word. Secondly, his family showers him with excessive affection. As years swiftly pass, Jamie diligently endeavors to understand how magic evolved over the millennia, aiming to reclaim and amplify his powers. During breakfast, Jamie sits beside his younger sister Sarah, facing his mother Sears Welton and his father Count Argano Welton. Born into a family of magicians, with his father being among the kingdom's top 5 sword masters, Jamie tries to fit in. However, he despises having to display and accept affection, a far cry from his past as the greatest dark magician. Back in his room, Jamie ponders how the 12 gods still see power from their believers. Despite his current weakness and the absence of dark magic in this era, he sees this as his prime opportunity. With ample time, he aims to regain his strength and confront the gods. Later, his mother invites him to join as she reads a story about a great magician. Jamie expresses his desire to become a great magician too. His mother remarks that he's already surpassed 3 magic teachers, but this time, his father will arrange for a remarkable magician capable of teaching him magic. In the library, Jamie delves into a book about mana breathing but finds it unhelpful. Exiting, he heads for lunch with his family, only to be startled by a random old man inside their home. Observing the intense mana radiating from the man, Jamie estimates him to be at least a 7th-class magician. In an arrogant tone, Jamie questions the old man's presence while subtly allowing his own mana to leak. However, the old man remains unresponsive, more intrigued by analyzing Jamie's talent than engaging in conversation. The old man tests Jamie by unleashing his powers, provoking Jamie into retaliating with magic. Surprisingly, the old man survives the attack and becomes ecstatic about Jamie's potential. He casts a spell, but Jamie doesn't react, unnerved by Jamie's lack of response to a non-targeted spell, something that would typically unsettle a regular 10-year-old. Jamie's father, Argano, intervenes and halts the old man's spell. Confronting Marquess Linmel, Argano demands an explanation for attacking his heir. Linmel acknowledges Jamie's genius, but refuses to teach him. It's not due to Jamie's lack of talent, rather, Linmel sees Jamie as beyond needing a teacher. Instead, he views Jamie not as a genius, but as a monster, an almost 4th-class magician at the age of 10, a level achieved through self-study. Linmel foresees Jamie potentially reaching the legendary 9th-class magician rank, a feat unprecedented in magical history. In his room, Jamie assesses the magical level imparted by Linmel when suddenly the old man teleports in. He presents Jamie with a unique magic book, penned by Linmel himself, containing spells and techniques created by the old mage. Linmel explains that Jamie's current spells and magic are outdated for this era. As Jamie reads through the book, he identifies a flaw in this new magic. Typically, mages absorb mana through their mouths, storing it in their hearts with limited capacity. However, this new technique requires breaking mana into smaller particles, enabling Jamie to absorb mana directly through his skin and store it in various parts of his body. This process significantly enhances his overall power. Summoning a creature named Black, Jamie commands it to fragment mana into thin pieces, effortlessly rectifying the initial flaw in the spell. The following day, Argano notices Jamie's escalating mana swirling around him, witnessing his power surge every passing second. After a few hours, Jamie achieves the status of a 4th-class magician. Heading to speak with his father, he casts an invisibility spell on Black to conceal its presence. However, on his way, Jamie overhears his father conversing with someone from the genie's religion, the very deity Jamie despises the most, the entity responsible for sealing him away before. Jamie is taken aback by the man's visit to greet his father, who permitted their religion to expand within their territory. Shocked by this establishment, Jamie realizes his only recourse is to prompt his father to expel them. Jamie approaches his father, who expresses concern about Jamie's extraordinary talent. Argano offers his full support whether Jamie chooses to continue with magic or not, emphasizing his commitment as a caring father. Pleased with Jamie's progress, Argano affectionately pats his son's head, prompting Jamie's surprise at his father's ability to sense Black's presence. Determined to uncover the reason behind Jenna's arrival on his lands, Jamie sets out at night, using Black's aid to fly and eavesdrop on conversations. While airborne, he overhears Philip and Jens, members of the criminal organization Lovell, discussing their boss's orders. They plan to infiltrate the territory, abduct children, and trade them for profit. Jamie emerges from hiding and confronts the two individuals who are startled by his sudden appearance. Mocking their inquiries about his identity, he faces their attack, disappearing into thin air. Employing a spell to manipulate their senses, Jamie reappears and interrogates them for details about their earlier discussion. Following the interrogation, Jamie orders Philip and Jance to head to the Count's residence and disclose their plans. However, before they can depart, a man arrives with 3 servants, swiftly incapacitating Philip and Jance. Jamie intervenes, casting a spell to prolong their lives, but the man orders his servants to take them away for a second execution. The man unleashes multiple magic spells on Jamie, creating holes all over his body, seemingly causing Jamie to vanish. To the man's surprise, Jamie reappears behind him, questioning the amusement derived from killing his subordinates. Frustrated, Han Ni unleashes a third-class explosion magic buster intending to incinerate Jamie. However, the spell proves ineffective against Jamie. Reacting swiftly, Jamie casts a mind manipulation spell on Han Ni, rendering him unconscious. Using the Erasure spell, Jamie makes all of Han Ni's underlings vanish into thin air. Now in control, he begins to interrogate Han Ni, seeking answers. With no new information and Han Ni's body unsuitable for transformation into an undead, Jamie absorbs Han Ni's mana, causing him to disappear. Jamie then proceeds to employ his necromancy spell. He revives Philip as Azard and Jance as Ryza, turning them into zombies. Granting them consciousness, Jamie enables them to retain intelligence while executing their assigned tasks. Azard perceives Jamie as his creator but senses an overwhelming and terrifying aura emanating from him. Suspecting Jamie to be a demon lord, Azard is taken aback. However, Jamie introduces himself as the Dark Magician, the one who attempted to vanquish the gods in the past and who intends to succeed in this new life. Jamie commands his new servants to investigate the Genis Church, instructing them to gather information. Ray and Azard are tasked with locating someone familiar with the bandits' plans. Once found, Jamie intends to use mind control to compel this person to report to his father, who will take care of the gang. After receiving this command from their master, Ryza and Azard set out to execute Jamie's absolute order. During breakfast, Jamie's mother informs him about their attendance at Count Simon's ball, an event he wasn't old enough to join before, but now must as the future lord of his territory, alongside his father. Later that night, Jamie checks on Ryza and Azard's progress, discovering that they couldn't gather much information due to the emergence of a newly formed cult. Inquiring about their other task, they reveal their hostage. Jamie manipulates the man's mind, compelling him to inform Jamie's father about Lowell's activities on his territory. Concerned for his servants' safety, Jamie orders them to leave the city and hide, anticipating his father's potential anger when dealing with the gang. Jamie, accompanied by his mother and sister, travels to the region where the ball is held, while his father remains behind to confront the bandits. His mother reveals that Count Simon, the region's lord, is a 7th-class magician. However, what truly captivates Jamie's attention is Simon possessing a single spell capable of extinguishing thousands of lives. During the event, Count Simon approaches their table, exchanging pleasantries. Jamie is taken aback by Simon's power, exceeding his expectations. Simon carefully assesses Jamie's power, prompting Jamie to release even more of his own. Intrigued, the Count expresses heightened interest in Jamie and indicates a desire to meet with him on another occasion. Simon's eldest son inquires about Jamie, recognizing that they belong to the same generation and expressing a desire to befriend him, as they will eventually lead their respective families. Simon's wife encourages her son to foster a positive relationship with Jamie. Meanwhile, Jamie seizes an opportunity to step out of the hall, seeking some solitude. While lost in his thoughts, he mumbles about wanting to speak with Simon. Unbeknownst to him, a girl approaches from behind. Startled, Jamie swiftly reacts, confronting her and demanding to know her identity, using a threatening magical gesture. Frightened, the girl introduces herself as Ash Bell, a spirit magician. Spirit magicians are individuals who forge contracts with spirits, a rare and esteemed group within the magical realm. Typically, those who become spirit magicians are honored with the title of Baron. Usually, spirit magicians commence their specialized training at the age of 10. However, Ash Bell is an exception. She's a natural spirit magician possessing innate mastery without requiring years of rigorous training. Jamie introduces himself to Ash, revealing that the Bell family is a loyal subordinate of the Weltons. Meanwhile, orders are issued to execute the leader of the rival organization before heading to the ball. However, when the boss is captured, an enigmatic figure declares the need for Plan B. During this chaos, Ash starts to pester Jamie by following him persistently. She grabs his hand, expressing her desire for him to become her first friend, having never had one before. Though Jamie appreciates her request, he swiftly declines the offer. Walking away, he reflects on his past life and contemplates how friendships and close bonds can lead people to lose their rationality. Simon's eldest son, Alf, arrives at the scene accompanied by his friends. When Alf calls out to Jamie, the latter questions the name he used. Alf's friends, considering Jamie's response disrespectful to their master, begin acting aggressively. However, Jamie swiftly uses his magic to silence the disruptive group, urging them to get to the point. Alf mentions he's there for a chat, but is intrigued by Jamie's ability to cast silent spells. Despite this, Jamie shows no interest in engaging with the kids' chatter and bluntly asks them to leave. Jamie, perceptive of Alf's intentions to dominate him, had displayed his magical prowess earlier. Despite Alf's attempt to forge a connection for their future as influential nobles in the eastern region, Jamie firmly rejects the proposition. However, Alf takes a drastic step, wielding a magic sphere to subjugate Jaime and employ an illusion artifact that renders them all invisible to the outside world. Jamie, repulsed by the kids' deceitful demeanor, finds the artifact intriguing. Reacting swiftly, he retaliates by casting a pain spell at them. Alf and his group collapse to their knees, writhing in excruciating pain, blood trickling from their eyes, nose, and mouth. It dawns on Alf that despite being born into a magician family, he's only attained second-class status, whereas Jamie, from a swordsman lineage, has already reached the 4th class. As Jamie departs, Alf vows to obliterate him until he's incapable of using magic. Alf re-enters the gathering and encounters his younger brother, Lennon, who hands him their father's stolen magic artifact. Together, they set out to seek revenge on Jamie. As Welton arrives in the region, Simon personally greets him and leads him inside. Amidst conversation about the upcoming ball, Simon mentions meeting Jamie and expresses astonishment at the prodigious talent Jamie possesses. Welton agrees, acknowledging that Simon noticed Jamie's exceptional abilities. Simon perceives Jamie as a genius and foresees his potential to awaken his talent independently, reaching the legendary status of a 9th-class magician. Simon reflects on the comparative weaknesses of human magicians in contrast to dragons and high elves, crediting the swordsman for preserving human status in their presence. However, he emphasizes that should Jamie ascend to the 9th-class rank, even the great dragon wouldn't be able to disregard humanity's stature.